If humanity had an operating system, it just crashed, and no one's rebooting. Right now, someone's live streaming their mental breakdown for donations. Someone else just spent 47 minutes crafting the perfect, effortless selfie while their actual life falls apart in the background. And somewhere, a teenager is having a deeper emotional connection with an AI chatbot than they've ever had with another human being. We're living in the beta version of civilization, and the bugs are not getting patched. They're becoming features. The glitches are now the operating system. You know what's really messed up? That teenager with the AI boyfriend? They're not the exception. They're the future. We've built a world where artificial relationships feel more satisfying than real ones. Performing happiness is more rewarding than actually being happy. And your phone knows you better than your family does. Welcome to Human Error 404. We autopsy the systems you're stuck inside. I'm your host, Charlie, and this is me sacrificing brain cells in the name of research so you can keep scrolling in peace.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
The Unusual Practice is a podcast that does the research for you and twists it and turns it to give you every single angle it possibly can. And today, we are sinking into the beautiful mess that is actually you.
Oh my gosh! Did you hear that? Oh god!
Let's talk about the great cultural collapse of 2024, or as I like to call it, the year everyone became a walking LinkedIn post. We're living through what philosophers politely call late-stage capitalism, but I prefer the more accurate term, the era where your existence has a conversation rate.
Thank you so much.
Right, so think about it. When was the last time you did something, anything, without wondering how it would play online? You had a meal without a photograph. You experienced a sunset without calculating its Instagram potential. And you felt an emotion without immediately strategizing on how to monetize it. Gen Z respondents across 31 countries are more than twice as likely to say they frequently experience stress and anxiety than baby boomers. And here's the kicker: they're not just stressed about external problems, they're stressed about their brand. Because that is what we have become, the brandified self. Everyone's a product now, and the factory never, ever closes. I watched my niece the other day. She's 16. She spent 47 minutes editing a candid selfie. 47 minutes, y'all, just to look spontaneous. She used 3 different apps, consulted 2 friends, and checked 4 trend forecasts, all for a photo that says, "Just woke up like this." This is what Byung-Chul Han warned us about in The Burned Out Society.
The complaint of the depressive individual, nothing is possible, can only occur in a society that thinks nothing is impossible.
We've built a culture where self-optimization isn't just encouraged, it's mandatory. Your mental health? Well, that's content. Your trauma? Well, you better make it inspirational. And your authentic self? Sure. Just make sure it's on brand. Now contrast this with the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, which is finding beauty in imperfection, in impermanence, or the Danish idea of Hague, coziness without performance. These cultures have concepts for being human without being optimized. But we took mindfulness and turned it into a productivity hack. We took self-care and made it an industry. We even took therapy speak and turned it into TikTok trends. That's giving me the ick. isn't just a feeling anymore, it's actually algorithmic content. Now, here's where it gets twisted. Over 60% of the world's population are social media users, and social media interactions can trigger dopamine levels similar to those seen in other behavioral addictions. We've discussed that several times, but just to recap, we are not just using these platforms, we're literally getting high off of them. But it's not the dopamine that's the real problem. It's what we're willing to sacrifice for it. And now you want to see where this gets truly surreal? Look at the collision between ancient spirituality and modern speculation. People are literally manifesting cryptocurrency gains. They're burning sage while day trading NFTs. They're doing moon rituals for their OnlyFans engagement rates. I found a TikTok last week with 12 million views of someone teaching abundance mindset while hawking a course on crypto mining. The comments were half, "Thank you for this wisdom," and half, "When am I getting a Lambo?" This is not culture. It's cultural collapse disguised as content creation. And here's the most insidious part. We've rebranded exhaustion as passion. Burnout isn't a bug in the system. It's proof you're doing it right. I'm so busy became a humble brag. I haven't slept became a status symbol. And I'm absolutely drained became evidence of dedication. As Helen puts it,
today, everyone is an auto-exploiting labor in his or her own enterprise. People are now master and slave in one.
we don't have bosses anymore. We have ourselves, and we're just absolutely terrible managers. So here's the question I want you to sit with. Are you living your life or are you loading it? Because somewhere between the morning routine optimization and the evening gratitude journaling, between the productivity hacks and the wellness trends, between the personal brand building and the authentic self-discovery, we might have forgotten how to just be. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you were bored? Ooh, not I should check my phone type of bored, but actually genuinely sit with your thoughts type of bored. You can't remember? Surprise! Your phone knows you better than your therapist. And unlike your therapist, it's free. Well, free if you don't count your soul as currency. So let's talk about the 50 people, just 50, who broke your brain.
Never before in history have 50 designers made decisions that would have an impact on 2 billion people.
Says Tristan Harris, former Google design ethicist turned digital prophet of doom. 50 people. That's fewer humans than it takes to fill a decent-sized restaurant, and they have rewired the neural pathways of half of the planet. But now here's the beautiful irony. They didn't set out to make you miserable. They just wanted to make money. And it turns out misery is incredibly profitable.
Hey, you just got money.
Every swipe, every scroll, every double tap has been engineered with the precision of a Swiss watch and the ethics of a casino. The swipe down action on your screen to refresh the feed is similar to using a slot machine. Every time we swipe down, we are thinking, what did I get? That's not an accident. That's called a variable ratio reward schedule. And it's the same mechanism that makes gambling so addictive. Except instead of losing money, you're losing time, attention, and the ability to sit through a movie without checking your phone 14 times. Now, speaking of attention, remember when we could focus? The average human attention span in 2000 was 12 seconds. But by 2013, it was only 8 seconds. 1 second shorter than a goldfish. Woo! Imagine where we're at today. Though to be fair to goldfish, they're not dealing with push notifications. These are not bugs in the system. These are features. What the industry politely calls dark patterns are really psychological warfare disguised as user experience. A user interface has been carefully crafted to trick users into doing things, such as buying insurance with their purchase or signing up for recurring bills. Ever tried to cancel a subscription? Notice how it takes 17 clicks and 3, "Are you sure you want to leave us?" With a broken heart, guilt trips. That's not incompetence, that's design. Now, ever noticed how the agree to all cookies button is bright blue and prominent, while manage preferences is as tiny as a gray whisper? That's not aesthetic choice, that's manipulation. And my personal favorite, the countdown timer on that limited time offer that somehow resets every time you visit the page. That's not urgency, baby. That's psychological terrorism. But wait, it gets weirder. We're now at the point where artificial intelligence is creating culture faster than humans can consume it. We have synthetic influencers like Lil Michaela with millions of followers who do not even exist. We have AI girlfriends that never disagree with you, and deep fakes so convincing that reality itself needs a fact checker. Think about that. We've created artificial people who are more popular than real people, and artificial relationships that feel more satisfying than human ones. This is not technological progress. This is humanity outsourcing its emotional needs to algorithms. I know someone who spent 3 months in what they thought was a deep digital relationship, only to discover they'd been talking to a chatbot the entire time. When I asked them how they felt about it, they said, honestly, the bot was a better listener than most humans. And you know what? They weren't wrong. The bot was programmed to be perfect. No bad days, no personal baggage, no need for reciprocity, just endless validation and digital dopamine hits. So, you think you're making choices, but you're actually just selecting from a menu someone else wrote. This is what behavioral economists call choice architecture. The way options are presented to nudge you towards specific decisions. Netflix doesn't show you every movie ever made. It shows you what its algorithm thinks will keep you watching for the next 4 hours. Spotify does not play random music. It plays songs calculated to create the perfect emotional arc to keep you subscribed. Your Instagram feed isn't chronological. It's algorithmic, engineered to show you content that will generate the strongest emotional response, whether that's joy, outrage, or FOMO, because engagement equals profit and nothing drives engagement quite like emotional volatility. Even your dating apps are designed to keep you single. If everyone found lasting love on Tinder, Tinder would go out of business, don't you think? So they give you just enough hope to keep swiping, but never quite enough satisfaction to delete the app. Delete the apps.
Oh no, the car exploded.
Okay, no comment. Now, Jaron Lanier saw this coming. In 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media, he warned us that we're not the customers for these platforms. We're the product. Our attention, our data, our behavioral patterns are what's being sold to the highest bidder. But here's the part that should terrify you. The buyers aren't just advertisers anymore. They're political operatives, foreign governments, and anyone else who wants to influence human behavior at scale. You think you chose your political opinions, your consumer preferences, your cultural values, or did an algorithm choose them for you by carefully curating what information you see, what voices you hear, and what reality you inhabit?
By the power of Grayskull.
In the Maasai culture of East Africa, decisions are made by the community, with elders guiding choices based on collective wisdom accumulated over generations. In traditional Japanese society, individual desires are balanced against group harmony through intricate social protocols. But us? Well, we've handed over our decision-making process to artificial intelligence systems designed by 20-something Silicon Valley engineers whose primary life experience is optimizing user engagement metrics. We've replaced tribal wisdom with algorithmic manipulation. We've substituted human connection with digital parasocial relationships. We've traded deep knowledge for infinite scroll. The more we use these systems, the better they get at manipulating us. Every click teaches the algorithm. Every pause gives it data. Every emotional reaction feeds the machine. You're not just using social media, you're training it to control you more effectively. It's like having a personal trainer, except instead of helping you get fit, they're helping you get addicted. American social media platforms are now dictating cultural norms in Lagos, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, local customs, traditional values, indigenous ways of thinking, all being homogenized in whatever generates the most clicks in Silicon Valley boardrooms. We've created a global monoculture of attention deficit, and we're calling it progress.
Wow, it's very nice.
Now let's talk about who you are. Or more accurately, let's talk about who you think you are versus who the algorithm thinks you are versus who you actually are when nobody's watching. Now, spoiler alert, these might be three completely different people. We used to have different selves for different situations. Work self, family self, friend self, secret weird hobby self. Psychologists call this healthy compartmentalization. Now we call it being inauthentic. Because here's the thing about digital life. Everything collapses into everything else. Your boss sees your vacation photos. Your grandmother sees your political rants. Your college friends witness your parenting fails. Your dating profile exists in the same digital universe as your LinkedIn professional headshot. This is what academics call context collapse. When you have to perform a single sanitized version of yourself across all platforms because everyone you've ever met is potentially watching. We've also created the most boring generation of humans in history. Not because we're actually necessarily boring, but because being genuinely interesting requires being genuinely different in different contexts. And genuine difference doesn't scale across social media platforms. Just check mine out. The more real I become, the less accepted I am. If I don't use musical trends, I'm absolute toast. I watched someone last week post a passionate defense of indigenous rights while wearing a Shein shirt made by exploited workers, filmed on a phone assembled by underpaid laborers, uploaded to a platform that actively suppresses indigenous voices, and the caption, "Authenticity is everything." The cognitive dissonance isn't a bug. It's also a feature because thinking too hard about these contradictions would make content creation impossible. We've turned spirituality into a playlist. A little Buddhism here, some Norse paganism there, throw in some astrology, add a dash of self-help psychology, and boom! You've got a personalized belief system that requires no commitment, challenges no behavior, and demands absolutely no sacrifice. I know someone who actually celebrates the winter solstice, practices manifestation, gets tarot readings, and does yoga, but can't tell you what any of these traditions actually mean or where they come from. It's cultural tourism disguised as spiritual seeking. Now here's where it gets really weird. Your identity isn't just being performed online, it's being formed online, a dimension in which the lasting gives way to the transient, the need to the desire. That's Zygmunt Bauman describing liquid modernity, and it perfectly captures how we construct ourselves now. Your personality used to be shaped by your family, your community, your culture, your experiences. Now it's shaped by whatever content the algorithm serves you between the ages of 12 and 25. Think about it. If you're consistently shown content about productivity optimization, you start thinking you're someone who should be productive. If you're fed content about minimalism, you start identifying as a minimalist. If your feed is full of relationship advice, you start believing you really, seriously need fixing. The algorithm doesn't reflect who you are. It creates who you become. Ta-da! And now, because we're aware of our own performance, we've now started performing authenticity itself. Enter curated imperfection, photos that look candid, but took 47 tries, vulnerability posts that were workshopped with friends, no makeup selfies that involve 3 different ring lights, and a filter called natural glow. We're performing the performance of not performing. It's meta fakeness, and somehow we've convinced ourselves this counts as being real. Now, I saw a post last week that said, just me being my authentic self, followed by 17 hashtags, including authenticity, realness, and no filter. The photo was obviously edited. The caption was clearly crafted for maximum engagement, and the entire thing screamed strategic vulnerability. Okay, so I don't really think they were consciously lying. I actually do think they genuinely believed this curated, hashtagged, strategically vulnerable content was their authentic self. Because when you've been performing identity for long enough, the performance becomes the person. Now, your cultural influences come from everywhere and nowhere. You're more influenced by a TikTok creator in any other country than by your next door neighbor. Your moral framework comes from X threads, your aesthetic sense from Pinterest boards, and your relationship goals from Netflix series. You have a global identity formed by algorithmic curation, but you're disconnected from any actual place or people. You're everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Compare this to traditional cultures that I study. The Himba people of Namibia recognize 16 different types of kinship relationships, each with specific social obligations and identity markers. Your identity is intricately woven into your physical community and generational knowledge. And us? Well, we have followers and mutuals, digital relationships with people we've never met, may never meet, and who could disappear from our lives with a single click.
Thank you so much.
Now, here's the paradox of it all. We have more tools for self-expression than any generation in history, but we're expressing increasingly similar selves. Instagram face is real. TikTok voice is real. LinkedIn speak is real. We have infinite options for customization that somehow all lead to the same aesthetic, the same tone, the same carefully curated version of human.
Oh my God.
So the question is, do you have a self or just a feed? When you strip away the curated posts, the carefully crafted bio, the strategic vulnerability, the performative authenticity, what is left? Who are you when nobody's watching? When there's no content to create, no image to maintain, no personal brand to build? Can you even access that person anymore? Or have they been optimized out of existence?
We ride the currents of the unknown tide.
But first, I want you to try something. I want you to go look in a mirror. Not to take a selfie, not to check your appearance before a video call. Just look at yourself for 30 seconds without documenting it.
Usual practice, breaking the mold, lighting up pathways, both new and old.
Now tell me, how uncomfortable does that feel? That is the distance between who you are and who you think you should be performing. That distance, that is where your real self is hiding.
The roots grow stronger in unconventional seed.
So now we've diagnosed the problem. We're living in a broken system that's hacked our brains, commodified our identities, and turned human connection into a product. The question is, what's the antidote? Hot twist. It's another app. There's a quiet revolution happening, and it doesn't involve upgrading to the latest iPhone. People are actually, believe it or not, downgrading deliberately, aggressively, with the fervor of religious converts.
And true, there's nothing to fear. Unusual practice, breaking the mold.
Meet the digital minimalists.
A philosophy of technology use in which you focus your online time on a small number of carefully selected and optimized activities which strongly support things you value, and then happily miss out on everything else.
According to Cal Newport, the MIT computer scientist who doesn't have social media accounts. Oh my God. So now let's let that sink in a second. A computer scientist who studies technology professionally and concludes the best relationship most people can have with it is less. There are people who understand the system so well, they've chosen to opt out. It's like being a casino dealer who refuses to gamble. So now we're seeing the rise of what I chose to call Amish 2.0, people who embrace some technology while deliberately rejecting others. They'll use GPS for navigation, but not for social networking. They'll have smartphones for emergencies, but keep them in airplane mode by default. The original Amish ask, will this technology strengthen our community or weaken it? The new digital minimalist asks, will this technology make me more human or less human? Both groups have reached similar conclusions about a lot of our current tech stack.
Like and subscribe.
From the serene rice fields in Bali to the tranquil mountains of Umbria, these retreats offer a chance to unplug, recharge, and immerse yourself in mindfulness, wellness, and the beauty of the natural world. Digital detox retreats are booming. They're not just for burnt out executives anymore. True wellness in 2025 is about slowing down, connecting deeply, and living deliberately in the present. People are paying premium prices to experience what humans had for free for ages: uninterrupted time with their own thoughts. Think about that business model. Pay us money and we'll remove things from your life. It's like reverse consumerism, and it's thriving because people have forgotten how to be bored, how to be alone, and how to exist without external stimulation. I actually know someone who went a week-long digital detox retreat in Costa Rica. No phones, no internet, no screens. She told me that the first 3 days felt like hell and a withdrawal. Actual physical symptoms: anxiety, phantom vibrations, compulsive hand reaching for a device that wasn't even there. But by day 4, something shifted. She started noticing things: the sound of rain on leaves, the way a conversation flows when nobody's half listening while scrolling, and how food tastes when you're not photographing it. People are trading screen time for dirt time, digital communities for physical ones, and virtual achievements for tangible creation. Community gardens are experiencing unprecedented popularity. Maker spaces, repair cafes, local skill shares, people teaching each other to ferment vegetables, build furniture, grow food, fix things instead of replacing them. Are you looking for a new business idea? Here you go, guys. Think in that direction. It's revolutionary in its ordinariness. You know, instead of disrupting industries, they're disrupting their own habits. Instead of optimizing systems, they're opting out of systems that optimize them. Even online, there's a quiet exodus from the digital town squares to smaller, more intimate spaces. Discord servers over X feeds, private group chats over public posts, newsletters over social media algorithms. People are choosing connection over reach, depth over virality, community over audience. They're creating digital spaces that feel more like someone's living room than the damn Times Square. Now, here's the radical idea. You can change your settings, not just your phone settings, your life settings, your attention settings, priority, and existence settings. What if you designed your own user experience for being human? For example, let's talk about boredom, that extinct emotion. When did you last experience genuine, undiluted, reach for nothing boredom? Not the what should I watch next feeling, but the deep, spacious emptiness that used to precede creativity, introspection, daydreaming.
You say freak like it's a bad thing.
Boredom is not a problem to be solved. It's your brain's way of processing, consolidating, and making connections between disparate ideas. It's where innovation comes from, where self-knowledge develops, and when you remember who you are when you're performing for no one. The cure of digital overwhelm isn't better time management or more mindfulness apps. It's deliberate, intentional, scheduled boredom. Time blocked on your calendar for nothing. Absolute protected emptiness. So here's your mantra. You don't need a better app. You need a better question. Not,
how can I be more productive?
But,
what am I producing and why?
Not,
how can I optimize my morning routine?
But,
what am I optimizing toward?
Not,
how can I build my personal brand?
But,
do I want to be a person or a brand?
Not,
how can I get more followers?
But,
who am I following and where are they leading me?
Imagine technology designed for human flourishing instead of human exploitation. Interfaces that help you use less, not more. Apps that close themselves when you've accomplished your goal. Platforms that encourage you to go outside instead of scroll deeper. This isn't fantasy, it's already happening in small pockets. Tools designed by people who understand that the best technology makes itself invisible, serves a specific purpose, then gets out of the way. In South Korea, they have digital sunset policies, mandatory phone curfews for teenagers. In France, well, there's a legal right to disconnect. Employers can't contact workers outside of business hours. The Japanese practice of forest bathing, Shinrin-yoku, is spreading globally as people rediscover the radical act of existing in nature without documenting it. These aren't just individual lifestyle choices, they're cultural resistance movement against the commodification of human attention. There's an underground network of people quietly opting out. They meet in person instead of online, they call instead of text, they write letters by hand, they read physical books, they have hobbies that don't generate content. They're not rejecting all technology. They're being selective about which technologies serve their human goals versus which ones serve corporate algorithms. It's about going inward. It's about remembering that you are not a user, you are not content, you are not a data point. You're a human being with agency, with the power to choose how you spend your attention, who gets access to your mind, and what values guide your decisions. The choice is not between technology and no technology. It's between intentional technology use and unconscious technology consumption, between tools that serve you and tools that exploit you, between being the user and being the used. So here's my challenge. For the next 7 days before you reach for your phone, ask yourself one question. What am I seeking? Is it connection, information, distraction, validation, entertainment? Then ask, is this the best way to get it? 9 times out of 10, the answer will be a resounding no. There's usually a more direct, more satisfying, more human way to meet that need. But you'll only discover those alternatives if you create space for them. If you choose boredom over scrolling, curiosity over algorithms, and presence over performance. The system is broken, but you're not stuck in it. You have more power than they want you to believe. The power to log off, to look up, to remember what it feels like to be fully here, fully human, fully yourself. Here's what we've learned today. Your brain has been hacked, your identity has been commodified, and your attention has been sold to the highest bidder. The good news, you're not powerless. The bad news, fixing this requires actually doing something, not just consuming content, about doing something. So here's your homework. And yes, I'm assigning homework because apparently we're all students in the University of Digital Dysfunction now. Try this experiment. Turn off your phone for 1 hour today. Not silent mode, not do not disturb off, completely off. Now, notice the panic. Sit with it. That panic is not attachment, it's addiction. And addictions can be treated. Then notice what happens in the space that opens up. Maybe nothing, maybe something beautiful. Maybe you'll remember what your own thought sounds like when they're not competing with notifications. If you like this deep dive into our collective digital breakdown, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, assuming you haven't deleted all your apps by now. Rate this podcast 5 stars if I've successfully convinced you that everything is broken, 3 stars if you're still in denial, and 1 star if you work in Silicon Valley and your feelings are hurt. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, but maybe call them instead of sending a link. Revolutionary, yes, I know. And remember, you don't need a better algorithm. You need a better relationship with algorithms. You don't need more apps. You need more agency. You don't need to optimize your life. You need to live it. Until then, try being human for a while. It's weird at first, but you'll get used to it. I'm your host, Charlie, reminding you that in a world of artificial intelligence, being genuinely human is the ultimate rebellion.
Mom, somebody just followed me.